Hey, what's up guys? My name is James Zhang. I'm the CEO of a company called Concept Art House. This is our logo, and what we do is really high-end, kick-ass artwork for a lot of transmedia products. Transmedia is basically like video games, social games, console games, movie work, comic books. I can kind of flip through some of the stuff, but you can definitely check out more of the artwork on our website. Yeah, but for instance, some of our clients or some of the people we work with are here. What we do is artwork like this, right? So this is something we did for Blizzard on World of Warcraft. This is something we did for EA for Command and Conquer, and the list goes on and on as far as who we work with. You guys play Magic the Gathering? I was a big Magic geek back in the day, so this was the new demonic tutor. Dungeons and Dragons. Come on, I know you guys played D&D back in the day, so I know I did. 12, 13 years old. Thank you. Got me through middle school. A lot of girlfriends, but no, just kidding. Star Wars, right? So Star Wars, we did a lot of things for Star Wars Galaxies, which kind of leads into what I used to do. I used to draw a lot for a living. Unfortunately now, I'm mostly like just running this company of these really crazy talented artists. So back in the day, I was a concept artist for a company called LucasArts, which is of course George Lucas's game company, right? They did like Monkey Island, Full Throttle. So I did a few games for them. It was really fun. And after that, I moved on to another company, become their art director, pushing out the first wave of PlayStation 3 games. And then later on, I got to kind of start my own art studio, right? So it's called Concept Art House, and I started it. It's kind of, I'll show you some really embarrassing photos that's never before released. Okay, so for example, I don't know if you guys can see it on the little iPad here, but that's a little photo of my guys back when we first started the company. It's like 6 people and me, right? So I was in the US, I had some guys in China, and eventually we got a lot bigger, and now we look more like this. I don't know if you can see that, but so now we have about 65 people in China. We've got about 15 people here in San Francisco. We continue to do some really cool artwork. Some of it I already showed you. And so what we're doing here at Comic-Con is we're talking about this property, which is called Daomu. Should I just stop waiting for your questions or just keep going?
Keep going.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for this interview, man. But this book, you guys haven't heard of it here in the U.S., but in China they go crazy for it. It's called Daomu Biqi, which literally means the Tomb Robber's Journal. To give you an idea, this is like an average book display. So when this author releases this book, it's like Harry Potter. People just line up and they buy this book, so when this author, a lot of people call him the Stephen King of China, right? He was like, he heard of us because he saw some artwork we were doing, and he's friends with one of my artists, one of my creative directors named Ken. He was like, hey, why don't you guys do this book for us? It's really cool, and this is the author. The author's name is Kennedy, right? And Kennedy tells me, he's like, hey James, when I was a kid and I was growing up, my grandfather used to tell me some crazy stories. He was a real live tomb robber. He would actually go into the mountains and dig up treasure and take it out and sell it, in his antique stores. I mean, it's crazy, right? This guy's like a real live, Indiana Jones. And so he would hear these stories, the author Kennedy would, and he's like, it would be really cool. He just needed one more thing, which is ghosts or undead, a little bit of mysticism, and it went a long way. So this book has sold about 8 copies, 3 million copies officially sold, 20 million copies on the black market because China, nobody cares about copyright, it's terrible. The fake copies look way cooler than this, which is, sad because, anyways. But that's just how the market is. We look at it as free marketing. So when we got a hold of that book, we were already doing some of the top quality artwork for the US market, okay? And we took that knowledge, and remember some of the artwork we've done, and we did comic book, we've done comic books, shrapnel, we did things like for, some things we did for EverQuest, for a company called Paizo, doing a lot of RPG stuff, World of Warcraft things. So we took that quality of artwork and brought it into this book and came out with this. Okay? This book is the best-selling graphic novel to have come out in China in probably the last 20 years. It's based on the same name, and I'll show you. It's really cool. We spent about a year and a half developing, which is a really long time for a comic book, but we want to get it just right. So this is the source book about the world that our heroes take place. Right? So we did all these little artifacts. I mean, it's perfect for a video game. And then this is the comic book, right? Sold out in Hong Kong and Taiwan, bestseller in the US. And then we took this book, we're like, well, we made it a success in China, what else can we do with it? So we ended up doing, have some friends at Image Comics. We all know Image, of course, Spawn, Walking Dead, Invincible, some great titles come out of there. I met with the publisher-in-chief, Eric Stevenson. I showed him our book, and I was like, Eric, what do you think? He looked at me, he was like, James, this is stunning. I'm going to publish it. So, you don't, more or less in those words, okay? So I know Eric's going to look at this. And this is the book, this is the comic, and it's going to come out in January 2011. And it's beautiful. It has the cadence of loss. It's about a young man's discovery of his own family heritage that his family's in fact out there. So he's got to go under the ground, discover lost treasures of the earth, find out about the mystery that is actually tied together with the history of China. So I'll just go into real briefly, but one of these stories, there's a real famous architect in China. This guy was the guy that built the Forbidden Kingdom, right? He was so powerful because the emperor listened to everything he said. Whenever he said the feng shui is right or the feng shui is wrong, the emperor would go, okay, let's just do what you say. So he actually had the power to remove entire cities. It's a true story, okay? And what he ended up doing was that he would say that to the emperor, and the emperor would say, okay, let's just destroy the city and build it over here. And people would listen, you know? So this architect had this much power, but no one really knows how he died, and no one knows what happened to his tomb. Well, we find out in our story. So, in our story, I will show you a few previews of what happens. I don't know if you can see this, but in the next books, I don't want to give too much away. This is photo exclusive, but they go underwater and they actually find this giant ship with an entire city built on top of it. And that's where we say happened to this architect's tomb. And there's all kinds of ancient magical treasure in there. So that gives you an idea of what we're doing with the series. And then the response in China has just been overwhelming. And I'll show you what I mean. These are the fans that really spoke out, and they dressed up in cosplay based on the concept art that we did. So I'll show you what that means. If you can see this, you see that? That's actually our artwork. This is our artwork, and this is the guy that's dressed up at it. See that? So we were super excited to see all these fans come out. We have like iPod commercial spoofs, and we're bringing it to the US market. Again, it's Istanbul, it's released January, okay? So the other thing our company does is AAA video games, right? So when I say AAA, I mean things like Star Trek Online, Command & Conquer, World of Warcraft, all these really well-known video games. And we decided after a while that not only are we going to continue to provide top video games for our clients and our partners, we're also going to try co-development of our own games. So I'm sure you guys have a Facebook account. I'm sure you've been spammed by farm-built vegetables and farm animals, and heard a little game called Mafia Wars and Vampire Wars. But we did a lot of artwork for those games, and now we're moving into doing some games ourselves, including this game. This is a game that's releasing. It's called Legacy of 1,000 Suns. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're bringing AAA art into Facebook.
Wait, come on, Metal.
So look at this. Believe it or not, this is the actual screenshot from the Facebook game. That's the guild hall. Okay, hold on a second. I'll show you a couple more pieces. This is one of the bosses you fight. That's called Fabricatrix. This is another boss you fight. Okay, this guy's name is called the Spoiled Prince. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're bringing in. This is what the game actually looks like right now. So it plays a little bit like the RPG games you've seen, but I'm telling you, you haven't really experienced this. What we're doing with these games we are not only bringing the artwork of something like a Star Wars, Star Trek into social games, but we're really telling a beautiful story. So we have a really talented writer. We have a great partner. The writer is this guy out of England who has a degree in hand-arm combat. Really interesting. Really knows his stuff. And the partner is Fifth Planet Games. They've been really awesome. And we're launching this game on October 20th. So we're going to give you a beta code on that, so you can try it out if you want.
Okay, definitely will.
Yeah, and so this is some of the other art you'll see on there as you get later on in the game. Total exclusive stuff. I don't want to give too much away, so you got to try it out. But it's free to play. It's free to play, and I guarantee you have a great play experience, even if you don't spend any money at all. And just check it out, okay? If you like Star Wars, if you like things like Fifth Element, you'll love it, okay? So, are there any questions I can answer?
Do you foresee like a live-action movie or CGI or an animated movie for, I pronounce it wrong.
Well, the answer to that is right now we're going to let the comic be the comic. Of course, we know that Hollywood gets a lot of their inspiration from comic books.
Right.
What we've done is actually when we tell this story, we tell it with a lot of horror. If you notice all the horizontal panels we use, that's very intentional because we want it to read very much like a movie. Right? So we've already talked with some Hollywood production companies about a movie SKU. Of course, we are developing some game SKUs on our own, but I'm not going to build a comic book just for the movie option. I don't think that's the right move. I believe the comic book pretty much needs to be a comic book.
I agree with you. I mean, that's like a Spawn TV series that HBO put out was actually pretty well because it's based on material.
Exactly. And then, right.
And the graphics were actually really good for
I thought so too, right. It seemed like there was a lot more storytelling happening. So, we have 7 issues done. I think we have a great screenwriter on it. We did some movie treatments based on this. The double movie in China might happen before the US one, but I also think that releasing a movie for the Chinese market is different from the US market. But what I'm hoping is that people love the book, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, when Robert Kirkman first wrote Walking Dead, he didn't say, let me make a great TV series, right? So that's kind of our approach on it. But of course, we hope for as much popularity as possible. So.
Now, with your source material, how many issues do you have since the source material might run out?
7. Oh, source material is huge. Okay? Remember, there's like 8 of these books. There's 8 of these books that we can draw sources from. We have enough planned out for about 21 issues based on this book alone.
Okay.
So based on that, we'll be in business for a while. Exactly. So
that's pretty cool.
And I mean, how long they drag out Lost for? So how many seasons? 6 seasons. So
I lost track.
At least we'll go for that one. So yeah, man.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
Well, thanks a lot, dude. And if you like, I don't want it to get too spammy, but it's concept